So I had been feeding the wolf. I say had because that day I decided to make a different choice. And my aunt posed this choice for me. And Sandra, if you're writing me, I can't see Instagram right now. Let's see. Okay, you go, girl. I love you. My aunt posed this question for me. Do you want to choose today to just let that guilt go, to just stop it right now and parent from the empowered place that I know you can parent from and be the mom that you know you can be? And the most poignant way that she asked that question was, what if the guilt wasn't there? What would be possible? So I want to ask all the moms on this live right now, even dads, parents, okay? And if you are a mom, parent, whoever, and you know other mom, tag her right now in this live, because this is an important question that I'm about to pose, okay? What if that guilt wasn't there? What would be possible in your mothering? What would be possible? For me, the first thing that came forward after that question was seeing my son as the leader, the true leader he could be, if I let that mothering go. Because the enabling is so powerful. The enabling of that victimhood, because by doing that, by acting for my victim, I was making him a victim. Oh, you're a victim. Oh, you need me. Oh, this is poor you. And I am a coach who teaches not to do that ever. Yet, the motherhood condition is so deep and so different than the work that I do even in personal development. Motherhood is its own game. It's its own game. It's its own entity that colors the way that we step into leadership, that colors the way we run that business. And, women, you think when you're starting a job or you want to be an entrepreneur as a mother, that you're going to have that be a separate thing that supports you and nurtures you? Perhaps. However, the way you do motherhood is the way you will do that business. I guarantee it. I've seen it with all the women that I've worked with and coached, and in myself. And there's nothing truer to me than that reality. So this is a really big question. And this is, by the way, why I do Threshold, to just focus on the motherhood story, because the motherhood condition is so singular, it's so powerful and potent, it's so in its own element around how we express ourselves as human beings and how we raise our children. And that how we raise our children also reflects the confidence we have out in the world. So first, when she asked me this question of what if the guilt wasn't there, what would be possible? And I saw my son with boundaries and integrity and being able to withstand hardship and hear no, which is such a powerful skill. I saw him rising and being like the absolute amazing Sitka that I know he is and that I know he will become. And it was so freaking powerful. And then for myself, because we matter too as the mother, right? For myself, I saw this really amazing capacity to be empowered in an entirely different way. To not feel at the mercy of my own victimhood, my own sadness, my own triggers, my own lineage, all of the things that cover how I walk with my son and therefore walk in the world. And I saw myself as somebody who really could actually hold motherhood as something that's not hard or something that's not victimizing me. I mean, just to be straightforward, right? And that's been my story for a long time, just the way I come into motherhood, the way I've, had postpartum depression, all those things. And they're important stories, and they did color the way that I do my medicine now and how I work with women. And that story is getting a little tired because my new child in here, this daughter, is saying, it's no mistake I've had this conversation, this breakthrough before I had her. It's no mistake that I've had conversations with my mother recently about her lineage and her pains and all of these things that are getting worked out. A lot of that's happening even because I created Threshold, and now this work is coming up for me, and it's really shaking me up as an incredible mother, you know, and really making me look and face some things that just don't actually get attention because we're not in the space of making time for these things as mothers. And it's so important. It's so vital. So if you are someone who is feeding that wolf of guilt, and I have to say, if anyone out there says, I never feel guilty as a mom, I don't know if I quite believe you. Not because I don't trust you, and maybe the guilt is very little, but it's because there's something innate in us that is actually created to be in charge of the survival of our child. That's our role as women, to actually keep our babies alive. That is the primal cave woman story that we are living. And so the guilt is actually a tool. And just because it's there doesn't mean it has to run the show. Mine was running the show. And this weekend I chose, okay, I'm not gonna let that take over anymore. You know, I'm not gonna let it be the thing. And my first test came yesterday when, of course, when the universe is like, here you go, here's your first test. You're ready to go. And my son was throwing a huge tantrum in a store, and I had my pregnant ass had to pick him up, limp noodle, carry him out and say, we're not doing what we said we're going to do. We're not going to get what we said we're going to get. We're going home. You're going to your room. And that's, you know, I was just like, so like, this is happening. Thanks for the coaching, Aunt Sandra. And regardless of what your parenting style is or what you subscribe to, RIE method, parenting method, who cares right now in this moment, okay? It's cool to have that if it supports you. But what I'm talking about is so far beyond any parenting method. It's really about saying, I'm not going to let the thing, that pain, that wound of how I perceive myself as a mother run the way that I feel I can empower my child anymore, because it disempowers me. Straight up, it disempowers you as a mother. I want every mother to hear that and to give yourself a big, huge hug, compassionate, massive, loving hug. And in this moment, just forgive yourself for any moment that you've had where you just felt like you couldn't figure it out. You know, and you just felt like I'm failing, like this is a failure today. And the thing is, we're never actually failing. We are just learning. Motherhood is not something that comes as a fixed role. It is a malleable, and it's based on your experience, your background, your stories, everything. Just like anything else in life, the way we look at success, the way we look at anything, our mindset. So, you know, this, I hope that every woman gets a chance to watch this and just touch in to that resonance around that and be in this question, you know, because when we nurture our child from a place of wounding, it's not actually nurturing the child. It's nurturing an identity that we've adopted that may or may not be serving us. For me, it was not serving me. And I really feel like we get the opportunity as women to rewrite this story. And it's huge, really, really huge. So I'm gonna end there. And I want to give every single mother just a tool today around this guilt, you know, that comes up. And whenever that guilt comes up, to just stop and sit in that and ask yourself, okay, what is this guilt about? Is this about something that I'm carrying that has nothing to do with the child? Especially when they're 0 to 3 years old, guys, like they're not taking things personally. They're just reacting. They're animals from 0 to 3. Literally, like their limbic brain is running their system, and it's not like they're doing things on purpose to be, you know, malevolent or bad. You know, they're just reacting. And our reaction to that reaction says more about us than it's going to say about them. And then it also says how we are in the world. Hey, Miriam.